And right there, in that tiny coffee shop in Paris, he looked at me with tears in his eyes and said, "Julian, I realized I've been lying to myself for 10 years. I'm not a bad student. I'm just a man afraid of being seen." And that was the moment everything changed for him. He stopped looking at the menu and started looking at the world.
Welcome back to Speak English with Luna. Today, we are exploring the psychology of fluency and how your identity defines your progress. Dr. Julian Vance is here to help us rewrite our personal stories. Julian, that story is powerful. Most people think learning English is about grammar books, but you say it's actually about the person in the mirror. Why is that?
Precisely, Luna. You see, if you wake up every morning telling yourself, "I am a person who struggles with English," your brain will find every reason to prove you right. You will hesitate. You will hide. The man in Paris didn't need more vocabulary. He needed a new version of himself. He needed to stop being the struggling learner and start being the curious communicator.
That is a massive shift. It sounds like we are building a character, almost like an actor preparing for a movie.
In a way, yes, but it's not about acting. It's about becoming.
So, Julian, for everyone listening right now, maybe you're driving to work, walking the dog, or just washing the dishes. How do we actually start this change? I want to know the first step. Give us one small, practical thing we can do today to feel different about our English.
It really starts with what I call the power of the label. Think about the words you use when you talk about your skills. If you say, "I am bad at English," or "My English is terrible," your brain creates a wall. It stops trying because it believes the wall is permanent. I want you to change that sentence today. Instead of saying, "I am bad," I want you to say, "I am a person who is becoming a confident speaker." It sounds like a small shift, but it changes your internal chemistry. You aren't bad anymore. You're simply in progress.
I love that. In progress. It feels so much lighter, doesn't it? It's like you finally have permission to make mistakes because you're on a journey. Okay, everyone, let's take a second for our first vocabulary checkpoint. These are 3 words you need for this journey. Confident. This means you feel sure of your abilities. Progress. This is the process of getting better or moving forward. Label. This is a name or a description you give to yourself or something else. Julian, why do we hold on to these negative labels so tightly? Is it just fear of failing?
It's actually a defense mechanism, Luna. If I label myself as bad, then I don't have to feel embarrassed when I make a mistake. I can say, "Well, I told you I was bad." But it protects our ego, but it kills our potential. We have to be brave enough to drop the label and be a learner again.
That is such a deep insight. I want to hear from our community right now. Go to the comments section of this episode. Tell us, what is one negative label you have used for your English in the past, and what is the new positive label you are choosing today? For example, maybe you're moving from bad student to brave explorer. We want to see your transformation.
We are moving into deeper waters now. Julian, you mentioned that the man in Paris had to stop being a struggling learner. That sounds wonderful in theory, but how does someone actually do that when they feel like their brain is literally freezing up during a conversation? Let's get into the why and the how behind this psychological shift.
It's a great question, Luna. And to answer it, I want to tell you about a client of mine named Sarah. Sarah was a high-level marketing executive from Brazil living in Chicago. She was brilliant, sharp, and incredibly successful in her native language. But every time she walked into a boardroom to speak English, she felt like a 5-year-old child. She told me, "Julian, I feel like an imposter. I feel like I am wearing a mask that is about to slip off."
Imposter syndrome. That is a very common feeling for our listeners. It's that feeling that you don't belong or that you aren't as capable as people think you are. How did that identity as an imposter affect her actual learning process?
It paralyzed her. Because her identity was tied to being the expert, she couldn't handle the messy stage of English. She viewed every mistake as a threat to her professional status. You see, our brains are wired to maintain consistency with our identity. If Sarah's identity was the expert and she made a grammar mistake, her brain saw that as a crisis. She would sweat, her heart would race, and she would eventually stop speaking altogether. We had to shift her from an expert identity to a growth identity.
A growth identity. I love that term. It sounds very B2 level. Can you explain the psychological mechanism there? How do we move from one to the other without feeling like we are lying to ourselves?
It's a concept called identity-based habits. Most people try to change their results first. They say, I want to be fluent. That is the outcome. Then they change the process. I will study for an hour. But they forget the deepest layer, the identity. If you don't change the belief about who you are, your old identity will eventually sabotage your new habits.
So it's like a circle. My habits provide evidence for my identity, and my identity fuels my habits.
Exactly. I told Sarah to stop trying to speak perfect English and start trying to be a curious explorer of the language. We gave her a mission identity. Every meeting wasn't a test of her intelligence. It was a mission to gather information. This shifted her brain's chemistry. Instead of feeling fear, she started feeling curiosity. And here's the fascinating part about neuroplasticity, Luna. A curious brain learns 10 times faster than a fearful brain.
That is a massive breakthrough. So for our friends listening, if you are stuck at an intermediate level, maybe you aren't stuck because of your vocabulary. Maybe you're stuck because you are protecting an old version of yourself that's afraid of looking silly. Julian, let's talk about cognitive dissonance. That's a big phrase. How does that apply here?
Cognitive dissonance is the mental discomfort we feel when we hold two conflicting beliefs. For a language learner, the conflict is often, I want to be a global communicator, but I believe I am someone who is bad at languages. To resolve that discomfort, most people give up on the goal because it's easier than changing the belief. It's painful to change how you see yourself. It feels like losing a part of your soul. But to become the person who speaks English fluently, you have to let the non-speaker version of you die.
You have to let the non-speaker version of you die. Wow, that is heavy, but so beautiful. It's about rebirth. It's about deciding that the new you is more important than the comfortable you.
Precisely. Sarah started doing small things to prove her new identity. She started a small wins journal. Every time she used a new phrasal verb or understood a joke in a movie, she wrote it down as proof that I am a global communicator. She wasn't just learning English, she was building a case in a courtroom. She was proving to her own mind that the old imposter identity was no longer true.
I can almost feel the energy shifting as you tell that story. It's like we're building a new house, and the foundation isn't grammar, it's belief. Julian, before we move on, I want to clarify something for our B2 learners. You mentioned neuroplasticity. In simple terms, that means our brains are like plastic. They can be molded and changed at any age, right?
That's right. For a long time, scientists thought the brain was fixed after childhood. We now know that's false. Every time you consciously choose a new thought, like I am a communicator, you are physically carving a new path in your brain. The more you walk that path, the easier it becomes. Fluency is just the result of walking that new identity path so many times that the old path of I can't do this eventually disappears under the weeds.
This is such a powerful perspective. It takes the pressure off studying and puts the focus on being. If you are listening and you feel a bit overwhelmed, that's okay. It means your brain is starting to stretch. We're moving from what do I know to who am I becoming?
We are elevating the conversation now. Julian, everything we've discussed, from rewriting our inner scripts to neuroplasticity, leads us to a very sophisticated psychological landscape. I want to introduce our golden word for today, self-efficacy. It's a term often used in high-level coaching and behavioral psychology. Julian, how does self-efficacy act as the engine for this identity shift?
That is a profound question, Luna. In essence, self-efficacy is the inherent belief in one's own capacity to execute the behaviors necessary to reach a specific goal. It isn't just confidence, which can be vague. It is a meticulous internal calculation of your own competence. When a learner reaches the C1 level, they often face a strange predicament. They know a lot of English, but they still feel a sense of cognitive dissonance. They can articulate complex ideas, yet they feel like they are performing rather than being.
It's like there is a glass ceiling, right? You can see the mastery above you, but you can't quite break through to that effortless, natural state of flow. It feels like every word is a conscious choice instead of an intuitive manifestation of your thoughts.
Exactly. And the paradox is that to reach true mastery, you must stop trying so hard to be correct and start being authentic. People at this level often suffer from what psychologists call the spotlight effect. They overestimate how much others are noticing their minor grammatical nuances or a slight accent. The truth is, most people are too busy worrying about their own performance to judge yours. Real fluency, C1 and beyond, is about the total integration of the language into your subconscious. It's no longer a foreign language, it is simply another tool for your soul to express itself.
A tool for your soul. That is incredibly inspiring. But we can't just wait for this feeling to happen by magic. We need to take action. So listeners, here is your community challenge for this week. I call it the Identity Mirror Challenge.
I love this challenge, Luna. Here's how it works. Tomorrow morning, stand in front of the mirror. Look yourself in the eyes. Don't look at your hair or your skin. Look at the person behind the eyes. Spend exactly 2 minutes speaking to yourself in English about your vision for the future. Don't worry about mistakes. Don't worry about being proper. Speak with the authority of the person you are becoming. If you want to be a global leader, speak like a leader. If you want to be a compassionate healer, speak with that warmth.
I want to see you all do this. Record a 30-second clip of your reflections, or just write a comment, and use the hashtag #MyNewIdentity. Julian, why is the mirror so effective? Is it because we can't hide from ourselves?
Precisely. When you see yourself speaking English with conviction, your brain receives powerful visual and auditory evidence that this new identity is real. It bypasses the imposter filter. You are essentially hacking your own subconscious to accept a new reality. It's not just practicing English, it is an act of psychological transformation.
All right, it's time for our word tour. Let's lock in these 5 powerful concepts from today's episode so you can start using them in your daily life. Julian, are you ready for the lightning round?
I am ready, Luna. Let's do it.
Number 1, self-efficacy.
The deep belief in your own ability to succeed. Example, my high self-efficacy helps me stay calm during difficult presentations.
Number 2, cognitive dissonance.
The mental discomfort of holding 2 conflicting beliefs. Example, I felt cognitive dissonance when I tried to act confident while still feeling like a beginner.
Number 3, neuroplasticity.
The brain's ability to rewire and change itself. Example, thanks to neuroplasticity, I can learn a new language at any age.
Number 4, imposter syndrome.
Feeling like a fraud despite your success. Example, she struggled with imposter syndrome even after getting the promotion.
And number 5, the spotlight effect.
Thinking everyone is judging you more than they actually are. Example, I stopped worrying about my accent once I realized the spotlight effect was making me paranoid.
What a powerful list. These aren't just English words, they are tools for a better life. Julian, this has been an incredible journey into the mind. Thank you for showing us that fluency is not just a destination, but a state of being. You've given us the permission we needed to finally let go of our old labels.
It was truly my pleasure, Luna. My final thought for everyone. Remember, every time you speak, you are choosing who you want to be. Choose the brave version of yourself.
What a beautiful way to end. Don't forget to join the Identity Mirror Challenge and share your progress with us using hashtag #MyNewIdentity. If this episode helped you see yourself differently, subscribe and share it with a friend. Believe in the version of you that is already fluent. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep growing, and keep speaking. See you in the next one.